GW have updated their intellectual property guidelines, which is rather fascinating, isn't it? This comes after a great deal of fan community outrage over their ridiculously heavy-handed protection, quote-unquote, of their intellectual property. Absolute murder of their greatest form of marketing and advertisement is what we, the normal people, call it, but hey, details, and they did promise in their latest investor report to create a special group to reach out to the fan community and try to do better, to let everyone enjoy it, and they even said that they of course love fan-made content. Oh. Alrighty then, so is this it? Is this finally GW realizing that they have made a dramatic error and they are going to mend their ways with a less ridiculous set of guidelines? Of course not. What kind of opiate-fueled imagination would that be? God, no. Much like the lad with the fork downstairs, GW fully embodies the title Prince of Lies, and that is what they are going to be doing today as well. Far from trying to open up the hobby and restructure their ass-backwards intellectual property guidelines, they have, if anything, made them slightly worse, although also a lot less easily interpretable. They've made them much broader in scope, like any good legalistic bullshit document after all. Games Workshop have been designing and selling miniatures and games for over 40 years. Our design studios have worked hard to create the unique setting and characters that are enjoyed by fans all over the world. Put a pin in that whole unique thing, we'll get back to that later. We love to see the fans enjoying all things Warhammer. I refer you back to the Prince of Lie title. We also have a duty to preserve and protect our intellectual property rights. This is the only way we can ensure that Warhammer will be around forever. Our goal is to do this while continuing to support the passion and creativity of our fans. We will level with you, we are absolutely goddamn awful at this, and frankly, we kind of hate our fans. So, whatever exciting Warhammer hobby activities you are working on, you may be absolutely assured that we will try to find some way to screw it up. Try to follow the below guidelines at all times, please, we pray, because we have absolutely no legal authority whatsoever to enforce any of this, but we would very much so like if you believed that we did. By doing so, we can all continue to enjoy all things Warhammer for a long time to come. Blah 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 blah, we have no power to do any of this ad infinitum. So, fanfiction, hobby, books, and magazines, right. Individuals may write their own stories, hobby books, and magazines based on their characters and settings, but... Now, before the but there, that sounds pretty good. Okay, is this actually a genuine liberation of it? Because it sounds like it, right? Well... Remember, I think it was Count Dankula that quite famously said, anything that comes before the word but doesn't really mean over much. So you are allowed to create your own stories, hobby books, and magazines, but you may not include any text, artwork, or imagery from any official Games Workshop material. Hold on there a second. So I can create a fan work based upon your stories, your characters, and your settings, but I may not use your characters or stories or settings because they are all, of course, official Games Workshop material, unless you have decided to start making unofficial books all of a sudden. Like, it's idiotic. This entire line is there just to fool people and trick them into thinking that this is any kind of loosening of the control. It is not. It must be non-commercial, with no money being received or paid. This includes all forms of fundraising activity and generation of any advertisement revenue. So no money whatsoever. It cannot be publicly distributed unless it is entirely free and always. It must be clear that it is unofficial, fair enough, and it may not be prejudicial to the goodwill, reputation, or integrity of Games Workshop or its intellectual property. So, again, no, you may not write your own stories, hobby books, and magazines. Because this entire line is nothing more than a filthy, dirty lie. Fan artwork, maybe it gets better. Individuals may create their own artwork, drawings, and designs based on our characters and settings. Again, that sounds great, but... that big old butt heaving into view once more, fat enough to eclipse the sun it is. It may not include artwork or imagery copied from any official Games Workshop material, so anything identifiable as 40k imagery you may not use. Aquilus, Imperial Guard, Space Marines. Hell, they tried to copyright pauldrons at one point. You may make artwork so long as nobody can recognize that it's 40k. So yet again, it's the exact same thing. You can't do any of this, and of course it must also again be fully non-commercial. What's more, they have no power to enforce this, particularly as we arrive at the third point, fan sites. Individuals may create their own fan sites based on accounts settings, but these must not include text, artwork, imagery, footage, or animated copied from any official Games Workshop material. So again, no, you may not. In fact, this invalidates every single fan site ever made. If you post a picture of a GW model, you are in violation of this guideline right here. If you post a review mentioning it, you are in violation of this guideline right here. And may I add as well, GW imagery, you may not use our imagery. GW, how much imagery did you steal wholesale from creator after creator after creator? Here's the thing, you can still use the chaos symbol in your artwork. When GW comes knocking, you just look them in the eyes and go, actually, that's the chaos symbol from Elric. Go, screw yourself, fascist. And there you go. Or you may create a story using the Adeptus Arbites. This is a Judge Dredd fan piece, don't you know, you thieving scum. Or hell, you could even rip off practically the entirety of the modern day Tyranid line saying, what do you mean? This is StarCraft 2. There was a point when Blizzard was copying Warhammer. We are kind of past that point now, although some of the lingering influences definitely do still remain. And of course, infringements. We have a zero-tolerance policy towards counterfeit models. Get screwed. In imitation models. Get screwed. I get to imitate whatever the hell I want. Recasting in 3D printing. I've got 7 of those bastards up at work. I can make an army and you can't do shit to stop me. Illegal download. You wouldn't steal a car. Well, you wouldn't download a car. Actually, people already have downloaded vehicles, so Unauthorized use of our trademarks. Unauthorized use of your trademark, like pauldrons, for example. Fan films and animations. Again, this is not an alleviation, it is not a loosening of their controls. If anything, it is a tightening. Individuals must not create fan films or animations based on our settings and characters. These are only to be created under license from Games Workshop. Because if somebody else were to do it, well, they might make it good. And as Happen and Bolter has quite thoroughly proved, we don't want good animated content. That goes against our business model, apparently. And of course, you must not create games and apps, etc. So yes, this might look like a loosening. It is not. It is a tightening, if anything. It is GW going right on back on what they said in the investor reports. Bear you in mind as well, you are not legally allowed to lie in those. That is called misleading the investor, and well, GW has broken the law yet again. This is not uncommon. They've multiple accounts of false advertisement, for example, where they promise one thing and deliver another. This is straight up lying to the investors. They are saying that they're going to find new ways to help fan-created content. Well, none of this is going to do any of that. In fact, this is going to do the exact opposite in every single way, shape, and form. GW is, trying and succeeding at becoming a worse and worse company, but hey, I suppose EA has been doing a lot better as of late, so we do need another worst company in the world, and GW is very clearly gunning for that top position, and by God, I hope they succeed. Until next time, I've been Arch, thank you all very much for watching, and fuck Games Workshop.